What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast. We're talking about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Times.
What's up? What's up?
And LeVon Maynard.
Welcome to the show.
What is going on? Welcome to the Wednesday discussion. So if you have not been tuning in all week, go back. So we had some really good topics. On Monday. We discussed a White House initiative, and it had to do with the executive order. Definitely tune that one out. Tune into that one. Then Tuesday was NIST and supply chain, so some good stuff there. Monday was quantum computing. That's what the executive order was for. And then Tuesday was NIST, and talking about the supply chain and how we have to do better, obviously. And then today's weekly discussion, I pulled this one from infosecurity magazine.com. It's a article by Phil Muncaster. I feel like we always get the same people. And this one talks about the biggest tech companies are throwing considerable weight behind a common passwordless sign-in standard. So you have Apple, Microsoft, Google, just to name a few, but there's other companies as well. They've announced plans to support the FIDO Alliance. So FIDO is, I had to look it up because I did not know what it was off the top of my head. It is the fast identity online authentication. So basically they're trying to get away from passwords. They're trying to invest more into FIDO. So that way it's more like a SSO, like a single sign-on type of authenticator. Because passwords are just kind of useless. Like they're getting more and more out of date. They're not really helping. And then this will strengthen some of the other authentications that I'm sure one of us will preach to the heavens shortly about. But it's just the future is passwordless. Like we talked about this in the past. I think it was a topic in our discussion, but the future is looking more and more like a passwordless future. And that's just to protect people because A, no one's doing it right. And B, even if you are doing it right, it is such a huge vulnerability because users, right? Like to include myself, like, I'm not going to just say everybody is out there ignorant about it. Like even people who understand a little bit more about passwords and authentication, we're lazy too. All right. So this is out here to protect us. But with that being said, what do you guys think about this?
Yeah, I think it's it's pretty straightforward. It's like just trying to get rid of the passwords, like you mentioned. I mean, those are like the easiest methods of accessing somebody's system, just figuring out their password. We all know like some of the typical passwords some people like to use, and maybe even pin combinations. People like using birthdays, like using like simple words, maybe family names, things like that. So it's get rid of the passwords. It's just a way to kind of secure the systems. And then we have, as you mentioned before, you're going to touch on the MFA. This, even the passwordless method is kind of getting it's basically trying to improve on some of the legacy functionality of like some of the mostly it's like the SMS based MFAs, which never really been like as secure as some of the typical like the applications that generate the codes, like the recurring codes, or even like the RSA tokens you can have that have like there's just like a little LCD screen that show you like the digits, and you can kind of use that as a and it constantly rotates, so it's always changing, and so you like never really know like what the pin is at a certain time. So it's this passwordless it's kind of like the future. It's pretty much where everything's going. It's going to obviously cut down on some of the breaches. Hopefully that'll kind of affect a lot of these big companies that we've been seeing get hacked lately.
Yeah.
And like, because I talked about this before, but a lot of times you don't even know how these companies got hacked. They don't really tell you, how this person got in, but you have to imagine somebody in the workforce is either like clicking the email or if they actually were able to get into the environment and were able to figure out somebody's password and then kind of escalate their rights and start kind of building up their credentials on the network. But imagine that those accounts that they were hacking had no passwords and they required like a certain device to actually authenticate. That would kind of stop them kind of cold in their feet, cold there in place.
Right.
But yeah, it's great. I mean, I'm glad to see that this is like becoming more and more prevalent, and it looks like these companies are teaming up. These are the big dogs in the IT world. So I'm sure that people will follow their lead. But what you think about this one, Shannon?
So I think it's a good thing, right? So like not only is it a convenience, right? Because it seems like everything you need to log into now requires a password, right? Like I'm to the point where it's just like, man, what did I have for this one now? You know what I mean? So like Ryan will probably love to hear this, right? I haven't gotten rid of my iPhone yet, right? I still got my Apple.
Gotta hold
So
on to
like
it, man.
I know, and it does Face ID, right? So like
Yeah.
it'll do Face ID for some of the applications to log into. So like the first time I'll do a password, and then after that it'll do Face ID. And the good thing about it is that it's not easily fooled. I know earlier in the technology it was, but it's not like easily fooled where you could just like hold a picture up to it and they'd be like, nah, that's not that, that's not the deal. You know what I mean? That's not you.
Right.
We know that's not the case. But the convenience of it is good, but this will also spark I mean, I say spark, but it'll also prevent a bad security practice of people just writing down passwords and just leaving them
Right.
wherever, right? So like by doing this, you keep people from having to do that, which is also something that you kind of want people to not do anymore. Does that sound right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like to write down. Like, yeah, I know. I was like, I did not like it. Like what? but no, because again, the convenience of it is always something that we're looking for, right? We don't want to have to go through and create these long, complicated passwords, and a lot of people don't, right? And that's why it's hard for me, right? Because I'm doing stuff that's like 16 to 18 characters, for
Yeah.
this stuff I'm doing. So it's like, man, what was it for this one? What was it for this one? Okay, what was it for
Right.
this one now? You know what I
Right.
mean? Because you don't want it to be the same across the board either. So it's a good thing, right? Like it's a good thing we're going passwordless. Now, with that being said, whatever method they're using, right? Like you have to make sure those are protected as well, right? Like if you're going to do the RSA, right? Make sure it actually is random. Make sure it's not just make sure it's not figured out that there's a certain, time frame of where, oh, we know it's going to go to these numbers at this time of day or whatever. But those RSAs are flipping over like every 60 seconds, I think it is, or something like
It's
that.
it's
Yeah.
fast. It's fast
pretty
enough to
quick.
be
Yeah.
annoying if you work in a secure environment.
Yeah.
Because you gotta run out,
Yeah.
get your key, run back
Yeah.
in, log back in.
So yeah, no, it's one of those things where I would look forward to it. I would love it. But again, there's still some more protection to be had. It's not just a matter of, okay, passwordless, we're good, right? Like whatever other method you're gonna use a substitute for passwords, you have to make sure that's properly protected as well. But
Right.
I'm looking forward to it. I love it. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's definitely the future. I mean, we've been used to it for a long time now, just with the multi-factor having to have your card and having to know your password and having to yada 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 yada. Because when I was a brand new airman, man, it was 3 down, hold shift, 3 down, 4 down, hold shift, 4 down.
Right. Right.
Everybody had the same password, right? You just kept flipping over and over again. So it's good. It's going to be a good thing, and I don't know how they'll. I get it for user accounts and things of that nature. I wonder what they're going to do about devices in your network, right? Like your TACACs and things of that nature, which was password based. And that's how people were elevating their rights, right? They would get your TACACs password, and then they would bump themselves up and do some damage. So I wonder how clever ways of getting around that as well. I'm sure they'll get there, because that's probably a good majority of the leaks. They're getting into the Radius server or the TACAC server, and then they're traversing the network that way. But yeah, I love to see it. It has weight because you have the big three in there. So I know Microsoft's been preaching this for a while now, and now you have Apple and Google on there as well. Like it's something that will take shape now, because everybody's putting their weight on there. And but again, we talked about it last episode. It's about making it make sense from a financial standpoint. Like how many times we're going to pay the ransomwares, how many times are we going to pay the fines the government's going to impose on us. We're losing money because productivity is down because our employees can't do work because they're all locked out of their accounts. So if you follow the money, this makes sense. So it's definitely what the future holds for us. So I like it. I'm also in agreement. So all three of us like it.
That's right.
So There it is. But definitely continue to tune in. We greatly appreciate it. Again, Monday we talked about quantum computing in the executive order, dealing with it. Tuesday we talked about NIST and how they're going more into scrutinizing the supply chain and the standards that are involved in that. Today we talked about passwords, the passwordless future that is going to happen to all of us. So it's definitely exciting. No Thursday Ask Us SP, but definitely tune in for Friday's episode where we talk about everything else, movies, books, all that good stuff. Definitely a Marvel heavy episode. No spoilers. I promise. People tune out immediately. But definitely check us out. Hit up all of our social medias. They all go by our name. Or we're on your podcast platform of choice. There you go. I finally got the words out. So if you listen to podcasts somewhere, we're definitely somewhere that you can get a hold of us. And then hit us up personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. I am on Clubhouse, LinkedIn, Twitter, and TikTok. And you, LeVon?
Yes, sir. You can hit me up on the Twitters at LeVon Maynard.
There it is. Stay safe. Stay secure.
Take care.